Hello, everybody. Well, whoever's there, whoever's left. Welcome back to another Hangout with Jed, Skeptic Media. I'm just going to conclude today my moon observations. I want to thank Marvin Sands, Justin, The Woods, Jan, who's a man, and who was the other one? MrB. MrB stuff's outstanding. He uses a telescope, so he gets the best footage. But amazing mix in northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere footage. And I've came to the conclusion after observing the moon from the start of the month of January, right up to the full moon. There's no way that can work on a flat plane. I've looked at all the models. I've tried to make what I've seen work on a flat plane, and it doesn't. I just keep finding debunking videos because flat Earth ones can't explain what's going on. They can't explain anything to do with the moon. So anyway, I just want to thank Marvin for doing all his footage, and MrB actually done a time lapse of the moon going the opposite way I see it. And a time-lapse video takes thousands and thousands of photographs to put together. And it's just appreciated the time that these guys have put in for this presentation. It's amazing. The thing is, this presentation could have went opposite if the stuff we observed fit a flat plane, and if we looked at it on a flat plane and it all fit, guys, this would have been proof for you, but it's not turning out that way. It can't. It's impossible. And since I started doing these moon observations, I've noticed there's a big sway. I've lost a lot of people. A lot of people don't want to hear it. And there's a new twist to this group dynamics, I think. It's a new little twist. I'll ignore all the haters, all these Poncho Chans, all these Martins, all these other people, but and Dell. I'll ignore them now, because they were always going to hate. I expected the hate for them. But what I didn't expect was the changey mentality between the people I was good with. And it made me realize something. It made me realize that I'm in it for the truth. Certain people are in it to be accepted within a group. It doesn't matter if it's a potato group or any kind of group. There's certain people out there that are shouting against the potatoes. They've been shouting against the potatoes for a while. And you wonder why. It's maybe because they got rejected the first time round. They've went to the potatoes, tried to speak to them, and they've got rejected. And you find a lot of these people that speak against the potato squad and speak against the disinfo. As soon as the potato squad approach them and start being nice to them and saying, "Oh, come on my show," or anything like that, you'll soon find the change of mentality, that they're being accepted, that they belong somewhere. So all this rhetoric that they had beforehand flies out the window. Pat Steer's brilliant. Mark Sargent's a man. They're all doing good work, blah, 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 blah. It's like, that's all it takes. That's all it takes for some of these people. Because I thought a lot of these people that were speaking against the potatoes and these other top brass speaking against them, I thought they were looking for truth. But they weren't. They were just looking to belong somewhere, looking for a group to belong in. And I didn't follow any groups. So I've noticed quite a few of my followers have dropped off now. And to be honest, it's just baggage. Baggage to me. If people aren't interested in the truth, what I'm doing here is observable evidence. And all I've not seen anyone doing their own observable evidence to show me otherwise or contradict me. I've just seen the same crappy videos coming up. Look at this video, look at that video. No one's went out with their own camera and said, "Jed, look, the moon turns into an ellipse when it goes away." Or, "Jed, look what I filmed the same time as you. The moon does this, the moon does that." I've had nothing like that. All I've had is attacks with the mouth like that. for nothing, for nothing. It started with Poncho Pete-chan, I think, after my moon observations. Tim Osman shut it down. It was just serendipity that I was there in the chat whilst Tim shut it down, whilst they were attacking me. It was all just coincidence. But I was seen as a bad guy for it. So these guys were ripping into me. Tim shuts down their hangout, and I get all this crap for the last. See the videos of Poncho's making, sex education, all that. I think there's enough. I think I've got enough here to file maybe a lawsuit against these people for defamation of character. Simple. Because I've never went out to do that to them. The same with Martin. He's deleted his hangout. But Martin was sitting on his phone talking about me, saying I was a Freemason, saying I got my Mac because I'm a Freemason and Freemasons are connected to uni. And when he was having his meltdown, he was on the phone and he was saying that before Jed takes down the flat earth, there'll be a bullet in his head. He said that. And at the end, he was waving a poker. And I'm the bad guy. I've never said anything. And then when I said about, when I talked about Martin afterwards, this was after his videos. Wouldn't you talk about that if someone threatened to put a bullet in your head? Would you not talk about it afterwards? But he deleted that hangout. But luckily enough, I've downloaded it. So I've still got it there, Martin. I've still got that hangout where you threatened to put a bullet in my head. I'm the bad guy. Everyone's feeling sorry for Martin. Oh, he's having a meltdown. He's showing you the azimuthal map and how the moon works and giving you this info and you're feeling sorry for him. Same with all these Poncho Chans and all the rest of it. Oh, Poncho Pete, we feel sorry for you because you sit on your couch all day. It's ridiculous, guys. It's ridiculous. I'm just sick of it now. I'm sick of all of yous. I'm sick of all of yous. The only people that seem to be talking any sense now is the concavers because they're stuck in the middle as well, between flat Earth and the globe. So, but it only takes acceptance in a group, and they can change their minds instantly. A lot of people that's speaking up against the disinfo, as soon as they get accepted, they've got their belonging and they go. It doesn't matter about truth anymore. As soon as they get accepted into the group, it doesn't matter. And if you look at the chat, and this is what I've been doing a lot lately, guys, looking at chat. I was looking at, you can see the same people in the same chats talking the same things. People that think you're not watching and saying things, and they think you're not watching. People you thought would defend you because you've defended them about certain things, laughing, ha ha ha. But it's and people there, they surprisingly enough saying things, defending you when they've never defended you. I've seen all this in the chat lately, the past week. It's amazing. Weird stuff. Flat Earth is just weird. But anyway, I'm going to conclude this vlog with my moon observations. I'm going to show you Marvin's. We're going to have a look at another video that shows you how what me and Marvin are observing doesn't match anything on flat Earth. It doesn't make sense at all. So, to me, guys, we're living in a spherical world. It's not shapeless. I've heard this push lately, shapeless. No, what I'm seeing and observing, there's a shape. There is a shape. Anyway, I'll show you the footage that Marvin and MrB from Australia, brilliant having these guys from Australia, and I'm seeing everything upside down. Seeing everything upside down. Not elliptical, we're seeing the same face, but upside down. This would be impossible with a 3,000 high moon or whatever it is circling, but we wouldn't see the same face. Anyway, I'll get the video up. If you're lucky, I might show you Martin's video where he skits his out, but I might keep that for another day. Right. Okay, guys, I'll let you see Put that back to the beginning. So this is Justin, Marvin, MrB, and Jan. Jan asked me to stop using the footage, so I appreciate that. I told Jan, I told Jan I'd edit anything out, but they were cool, and I've not included anything today of Jan's because I think Jan's trying to do his own stuff. So, and just like I said, if I include people that don't want to be in my video, they'll get ignored by people. So this is what Justin was seeing with the full moon. This is the 13th and the 14th. So that was quite good footage considering it was really cloudy that day. So I want to thank you, Justin, for your observations, man. This will be the last time I use any, so then don't feel obliged to upload anything for me. Do it for yourself. Do it for your own research. This was some of my own footage, but I can't get the glare of the moon away when it's a full moon. This was on the 13th, Friday the 13th, full moon. Venus was out, shining bright. But this was my photograph of the full moon. A total full moon, well, nearly. I think it was 99 point something. Shit. 99.5% when I took that photograph. I took it at midnight, exactly midnight. I wanted to get it exactly at midnight. 99.5%. Full moon in Scotland, Friday the 13th. It's beautiful. This is Marvin's footage from Australia. And as you can see, guys, it's just flipped upside down and inverted. What me and Marvin Sands sees is upside down and inverted. And even just those craters, the fact that those craters are elliptical proves that that's a ball up there. So here's the footage from Marvin, some nice stuff. You see the craters. But like we see here, this is my moon. This is Marvin's moon. Mind you, when I say that, although it's upside down, there's a slight different tilt, but that'll be because he took his at 10:20, mine was at midnight. So there is that tilt going on. Cool. Marvin's been a total soldier when it comes to taking his footage. I just want to thank him lots for this. He's went out every night throughout January taking footage. So you can stop now, Marvin, if you like, but if you want to keep collecting for your own observations, that's cool. So that was Friday the 13th in both hemispheres. I got the full moon before Marvin, the complete full moon, even though he's 11 hours ahead. Because I think the Terminator line on the Earth is more like a curve than a straight line. The angle. So this was the 14th, I think. This was the 14th in Edinburgh. Which you see there, it's the shadows now. It's a waning gibbous now. This was after the full moon. You can see in this photo here. It's now becoming a waning gibbous in Scotland. So everything matches timeanddate.com with the moons, with Marvin and myself. So this is the 14th from Melbourne. And as you can see with Marvin, the shadows now on the left-hand side forming. This can only happen on a spherical world, guys. So the shade's on the left-hand side for Marvin, and it'll work its way over to the right, from left to right. And where I'm looking, it's on the right-hand side, and it'll work its way from right to left. That only makes sense if we're both upside down from each other. The face of the moon as well only makes sense if we're upside down from each other. I wish more people would go out and do their own observations, and I can watch their videos. So that was mine's and Marvin's, practically the same moons. Different times mean the face rotates differently, but it's clear to see that it's inverted and flipped upside down, which can only work on a sphere. This can't work on a flat plane. So timeanddate.com is accurate, guys. And timeanddate.com is based on a spherical Earth. How can you get this accurate? You can't get this accuracy on anything. Flat Earth. So guys, this is MrB's stuff, and this is a time lapse he's done. And if you're from the northern hemisphere, guys, this will look unusual to you. Because in the northern hemisphere, we're used to seeing the moon travel from left to right across our sky, like the sun. We're used to seeing the moon travel like the sun across our sky from left to right. Whereas Mr. B, because he's in Australia, he sees it traveling from right to left. And this is a time-lapse video he's made. Amazing. Look at that. That's the moon traveling in real time. That's the Earth spinning. Crazy. So people in the northern hemisphere will see this pronounced crater at the bottom, whereas Mr. B can see it on the top. Amazing imagery. So two people, or four people, two from the northern hemisphere, two from the southern hemisphere, we can collect observable evidence, we can compare them, we can match them to two different, well, we can match them to all different models. We can match them to flat earth models, whatever's out there, nothing matches. We can match them to the spherical earth, and it matches. It matches, it fits. It's perfect. So thanks to MrB for getting that footage for me. He done that over the 2 days. Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff, guys. And this is what I'm talking about. Observable evidence. As much as all the hate goes around, no one's coming to me with their own observable evidence. Like the Ohio, he keeps talking about a selenial eclipse. It's like a daytime lunar eclipse. It's a rare phenomena, just like the blood moon. And it's something that they've not observed themselves or got any evidence of. So I'm bringing to the table my own and people from around the world's real-time observable evidence that doesn't support flat Earth, but supports a spherical world. And what are they bringing? They're bringing memes on Hangouts. They're digging out all the proofs from Eric Dubay and Mark Sargent, 2-year-old proofs that isn't worth the paper they're written on. They've got nothing. So this is what they're resorting to, these kind of attacks. And they're everywhere. They're everywhere. And it's not just the top brass anymore. It's their little minions that go around as well. They're forming their own wee cliques. I just don't fit in anywhere, really. I even hopped on over to Cathexis, Tim Osman, all they guys, and I still don't feel like I belong there either. It's strange. When you're looking for truth, you're not looking for a belonging. You're looking for the truth. You're still unsatisfied. I feel unsatisfied, even when the group accepts me. When I see information, it's not satisfying me. I'm going to break away from the group. If people like it or not, they'll get swept aside for the truth. People that have supported me, but because I'm doing these observations, it's attacking everything they believe in. So they're now not supporting me, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Totally fine with it. Suits me. It'd suit me if my subs wane to the subs of the people who can't understand what I'm doing right now. I'd prefer if they did just go. Anyway, I'm going to, like I said, I conclude that we live on a spherical Earth. Everything that me and Marvin have done, and MrB, Justin the Woods, even Jan, all these observations, they don't match a flat Earth. They don't match it. They don't match it. And no one can explain it. All they can do is all these silly attacks. No one can say, Jed, here you go. They draw something on a piece of paper and go, explain this, Jed. It's like, do your own observable evidence, guys, and come back to me when you've proved it to yourself. Not when you've watched some video that's trying to convince you. They are trying to convince you the Earth's flat. So they're only going to show you stuff that supports their ideology. They're not going to show you stuff that contradicts their ideology. If I have to be the person that brings the stuff that contradicts it, well, I'm going to be it, because I see no one else doing it. No one else is doing observable evidence. They're sitting around talking about chemtrails. This is a big thing now, chemtrails. I've done all that. I've done that. That psyop's so big. There's so much disinfo in the chemtrail movement. You'll just get lost in it. And it's not as big and scary as you think. Of course, trails create clouds. I've shown videos of them doing it, time-lapse videos. It took me hours and hours, sometimes a whole day, to take. Thousands of images, 3,000 images put together to watch the skies. Never ever seen any planes spraying. You'll see the odd YouTube video now and again where planes have to release fuel, because planes can't land with full fuel tanks. They'll just explode. So you'll get the occasional video of a plane spraying the excess fuel out because they have to. PSYOP, chemtrail, spiders, webs. This is a new thing. This is the chemtrails. I've seen a big push with the chemtrails in flat Earth. There's no denying that, guys. They're trying to push the chemtrail psyop into flat Earth, and it's full steam ahead now. And I'll tell you everything you can actually expect, including Morgellons. If you've not heard about Morgellons disease, you're going to hear it soon from flat Earth. But it's old to me. It's old to me, but it's going to be new to you. But I've been through it all. I've weaved my way right to the top of the chemtrail site, trying to get the big guns, and it was harder to actually get to the top brass, should we say, than it is in the flat Earth, because the flat Earth is a much more controlled scene. The chemtrail scene was sporadic, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere. It wasn't as controlled as the flat Earth scene. But I was all over Facebook with that stuff. That's a thing that YouTube has done. When you've got a YouTube channel, Facebook goes out the window. You stop looking at Facebook. You find that YouTube's turning into the new Facebook. People are cooking or telling you things that are just benign and uninteresting. So it's like they're trying to turn YouTube into like what Facebook's turned into. Look what I had for my dinner. They'll even show you a video of them cooking it now. At least Facebook, you just seen a photograph and you could go past it. Now they've got whole videos of them showing you how to make vegetable soup and cut a few vegetables up and throw it in a pot. But this is what it's coming down to. And the big guys, the big top brass people in flat Earth, because they've not been bringing out much content. Even Bob's disappeared for a wee while. I think it was after tomfoolery exposed Bob trying to dox JLB. Bob was trying to give JLB's personal details out on a chat, his real name and all that. And tomfoolery was in the chat and he could see this and he pointed it out. And that's not right. But this is what it comes down to. When they can't provide their own observable evidence, like that balloon could have done. Well, it probably would have just proved the sphere, but they were trying. And even then, when they try, they fail. So they just resort to showing you videos by all these people in the flat Earth, all these psyops. Strange, guys. Strange times on the flat Earth. I'm starting to realise that it's not truth that people are looking for. A lot of people are looking for a belonging, even if it's not with the flat Earth brass. It's with somebody. And I noticed, like I said, I noticed a lot of people had a gripe with Patricia, had a gripe with Nathan. But as soon as these people, like Patricia and Nathan, reach out to these people, they're like, they're under the spell. Because all they wanted in the first place was to belong somewhere. They never wanted the truth. So, and I'm finding there's a pattern here. It's like they're trying to clutch at even the descenders to get on board, because they're running out of so much material, the flat Earth. They're running out. And the globe, the people that believe in the sphere are starting to ramp it up now, because they're getting called globetards. They're getting called cult members, criminals, because they believe in a globe. All your families believe in globes. How are we criminals? It's ridiculous, guys. It's ridiculous. But anyway, I'm going to share another video. It kind of supports what me and Marvin have been observing about the moon. Because the moon plays a big part in this flat Earth psyop, sophism. The moon plays a part in our everyday life, just like the sun. Like we rely on it too. So to ignore it is just plain ignorance. And I've realised a lot with this moon, observing the moon. So anyway, guys, I'll screen share a video. So right now, guys, this is timeanddate.com. If you want to do this yourself, you don't even need a camera. Just to prove it to yourself, guys. Look out tonight and look at timeanddate.com and look at the moon. It matches. It's to a T. It's real time, guys. It's real time. Even tells you the direction. So much info, and it all matches. It all matches a sphere. Anyway, I came across this video. This was a good video because it talks about the moon and the Earth is not flat just by looking at the moon. So I'll let you have a look at, if you've not seen this, because if you're in Flat Earth, guys, you'll find that you'll maybe try and get round to looking at a video that contradicts what you believe in. But there's 4 videos to every one of them. So I'll let you have a watch of this and you can come to your own conclusions, guys. Simple as that. I'm not trying to force this on anybody. You can watch it, you can come to your own conclusions. You can watch all the evidence that I've gathered with Marvin over the past few weeks and come to your own conclusion. This is by Voice of Reason. Voice of, like Russian. I hope he doesn't mind me showing people his video.
3 in the series, proving the Earth is not flat. The goal of this series is to show you how you can prove to yourself, with your own observations and experiments, that the Earth is a sphere. Today, we will look at the moon. It is important to understand a number of facts about the moon so that I can show you how our observations of it can demonstrate that the Earth is a sphere, and how it can only work within the heliocentric globe model and not in any flat Earth model. The moon is a sphere that orbits the Earth about once every 27 days. Some flat earthers will claim that the moon is a flat disk, or just a light in the sky, or some sort of projection, or even a hologram. All of these are absurd and easily refuted by the evidence. The fact that there are many different explanations, and again I use the term loosely, for the moon within the flat Earth community should tell you something. There is only one explanation in the heliocentric model, the right one. But how do we know the moon is a solid sphere? Because no matter where you are on the Earth, when you look at the full moon, it is always circular. Only a sphere looks round from all vantage points. If it were a flat disk, a light, or projection circling above the flat Earth, just a few thousand miles up, it would appear to look elliptical as it moves away from us, like this, because our viewing angle would change. Also, as I pointed out in part 1, it would shrink and disappear as it moved away, like this, if it were only due to perspective, as flat earthers claim. It never does this. It slides behind the horizon at the same shape and size as it was when it was overhead. Also, when you look closely at the moon with magnification, you can see that the circular craters appear increasingly elliptical as they approach the edges, and exactly in the right direction, due to the curvature of the moon's spherical surface. The moon's phases are caused by the light of the sun reflecting off the moon. As the moon revolves around the Earth, we see it at different angles in relation to the sun's light. The moonlight takes on a series of shapes as it goes through its monthly cycle. You can see with a simple demonstration that any sphere lit from one side and viewed from different angles will take on these shapes. As the moon revolves around the Earth, we see it at different angles in relation to the sun's light. The moonlight takes on a series of shapes as it goes through its monthly cycle. You can see with a simple demonstration that any sphere lit from one side and viewed from different angles will take on these shapes. Also, it's important to remember that the sun is about 400 times farther away than the moon. So sometimes the lighted side doesn't look like it points directly to the sun, but you have to think three-dimensionally to see that it does. Some flat earthers think the phases of the moon are supposed to be caused by the Earth's shadow. That is wrong. The shadow we normally see on the moon is just the moon's own shadow, the side that is shaded because it is away from the sun. This is very different from lunar eclipses, when the Earth's shadow is seen on the moon. More on that later. Some flat earthers will claim the moon gives off its own light, rather than reflecting the sun's light. This is simply impossible. What mechanism could possibly explain how a big rock gives off light, which just happens to move across the surface in a pattern corresponding to the direction of the sun? And when the moon is less than full, it is easy to see shadows in its craters and on the side of its mountains, proving that the light is external. The moon cannot be its own light source. It cannot work. It makes no sense and has no plausible mechanism. The evidence all shows that the moon is a big, reflecting, spherical rock. When we look at the moon from anywhere on Earth, we see the same face of it, with the same distinctive craters and large dark areas called mare. This is because the moon rotates at the same rate that it revolves around the Earth. It does this because the pull of the Earth's gravity caused a slight bulging of the moon, and gradually that slowed the moon down until its rotation rate, relative to the Earth, reached zero. This is called tidal locking, and it is not unique to our moon. It occurs in most of the large moons in our solar system as well, and also the planet Mercury. The moon is about 239,000 miles from Earth. In most diagrams of the Earth and moon, you will see them close together like this, but this is not nearly the correct scale. When drawn to scale, we see that the moon is way out in the distance, about 30 times the width of the Earth away. This is why we are able to see the same face of it from everywhere on Earth. At that distance, our angle of view is essentially the same from all locations on Earth. How do we know it's that far away? Well, there are a number of ways to determine the distance to the moon. One way is by measuring the moon's angle above the horizon simultaneously from two distant points on Earth, and then using simple trigonometry to calculate the height. When this is done, the distance to the moon is calculated to around 239,000 miles, and this closely matches other modern methods of measuring the distance, including radar and lasers, and also ancient methods, such as using lunar eclipse geometry. But since the method uses the horizon, the calculation works out quite differently if you assume the Earth is flat, because you then assume the horizon is the same in both locations, while on the curved Earth, you need to compensate for the curve of the Earth between the 2 points. So, assuming a flat Earth puts the moon much closer, and flat earthers calculate the moon is only about 3,000 miles away. So how can we tell who is right? Well, besides all the other evidence for the curved Earth, we know the moon cannot possibly be that close, due to the simple fact that everyone on Earth always sees the same face of the moon when it is visible in the sky. If it were only 3,000 miles away, that simply would not be possible. Let's look at an example on the flat Earth map to demonstrate this. When the moon is visible, you can see it from Maine in North America and southern Argentina in South America at the same time, since they are at the same longitude. They are each about 3,000 miles from the equator. So, if the moon is only 3,000 miles high, above the equator on the flat Earth, when viewed from the side, this forms a right triangle, with the viewing angles to the moon being 45 degrees in each location. Anyone notice the problem? This means that in each location, a person would be viewing the moon at an angle that is about 90 degrees different from the other location. They simply could not possibly both see the same features on the same side of the moon, but of course, in reality, they do. Also, if the moon is full for the northern observer, it would be only about half full for the southern observer. But we know that the moon's phases are seen almost exactly the same everywhere on the Earth at the same time. The only way you could see the same side of the moon and the same phase everywhere on Earth is if it is far out in the distance, so that all viewing angles are essentially the same. You can verify this yourself. Find someone in a different part of the world and ask them what phase the moon is in. They will always see the same phase that you see, or very close to it, on the same day. This is not possible with a close moon circling above a flat Earth. Another way the moon reveals the shape of the Earth is with lunar eclipses. This is when the Earth's round shadow can be seen crossing the face of the moon. They can happen as often as once every 6 months and are visible everywhere on the night side of the Earth when they occur. They don't happen every month for one simple reason. The moon's orbit around the Earth is tilted about 5 degrees from the Earth's orbit around the sun. When shown to proper scale, with the moon about 30 Earth diameters away, you can see how the orbital tilt of 5 degrees can cause the moon to pass below or above Earth's shadow. This animation shows the variation of the moon's position in relation to the Earth's shadow when it reaches full moon each month. Most months, it passes above or below the shadow. Only when the angle of the moon's orbit is aligned with Earth's orbit at full moon does a lunar eclipse occur. This is a great example of how flat earthers' objections to the globe are based on a misunderstanding of the facts. They often claim an eclipse should happen every month, but this is because they do not understand the scale of the Earth-Moon system and the 5-degree tilt of the moon's orbit. They are not arguing against the actual facts. They are arguing against their own ideas of how they think it is supposed to work. This is called a straw man fallacy. When you get the facts right and understand all the relationships, scales, and concepts involved, you will see it really all does work. Your biggest problem is your misunderstanding of the model. My goal is to clear up as many of these misunderstandings as I can. When the orbit of the moon is aligned with the Earth at full moon, a full or partial lunar eclipse occurs, and we see the large circular shadow of the Earth pass over the moon. The Earth is about 4 times the size of the moon, but its shadow on the moon is a little less than that because the shadow is slightly cone-shaped. Since we know the distance to the moon, we can calculate the size of the Earth from its shadow using simple geometry, which comes out to 7,917 miles in diameter, and this matches all other measurements. As the moon is covered by the Earth's shadow, it begins to appear reddish, often called a blood moon. This occurs because of the reddish light of the Earth's atmosphere glowing on the darkened moon. It's red for the same reason sunsets are often red. Red light can pass through the atmosphere and not get scattered much, while light at the blue end of the spectrum is more easily scattered. So at sunrise and sunset, when the sunlight travels a long path through the atmosphere, the blue light has been mostly removed, leaving mostly red and yellow light remaining. The eclipsed moon is lit by a sunset that circles the globe from its perspective. This red color is further confirmation that the lunar eclipse is caused by the shadow of the Earth. I've seen some flat earthers claim that it is impossible to cast a red shadow. No, that's just wrong. The Earth doesn't really cast a red shadow on the moon per se. It blocks the most direct white light of the sun and shines a dim red light on the darkened surface. What is the flat Earth model's explanation for lunar eclipses? They really don't have one. Some of them claim it is probably due to a semi-transparent disk passing in front of the sun and shading the moon, sometimes called the anti-moon or shadow object. But they have no observations of it outside of eclipses, and no explanation for what it is, why it never casts shade on the Earth or blocks the stars, what holds it up, or what makes it move. It's just a special pleading fallacy with zero evidence, an attempt to save their belief from contradictory evidence. Another serious problem with the flat Earth model is that flat earthers never explain what force keeps the moon circling above the flat Earth. There is no known force that can do this. Is it magic? Is it supposed to be attached to the dome or firmament? They never really say. But of course, that could not work because it moves at a different speed and in a different path than the stars and the sun and the planets. And also, it goes in front of the sun during solar eclipses. And also, the moon's orbit like nearly all other orbits, is not perfectly circular, but slightly elliptical. So its distance from Earth varies, and we can see this because its apparent visual size varies by as much as 12%. What force in the flat Earth model can cause that? Does it go up and down? Does it shrink and grow? In reality, we know exactly what keeps the moon moving across our sky. It's called gravity. The moon orbits the Earth due to the pull of Earth's gravity. Many of you have said that gravity has never been proven, or even that it doesn't exist. It's hard for me to describe exactly how ridiculous that is. I am still astounded when I hear a flat earther say this. You are denying something that we all easily observe every day. There is no force or phenomenon that is more scientifically proven than gravity. You don't have to understand the physics of why it works to see that it does work, and works the same everywhere in the universe. The same force that is holding you down right now, and has for your entire life, is the same force that causes all dropped or thrown objects to be pulled back down to the Earth in a precisely predictable way, and is the same force that holds the moon circling around the Earth. This is how all orbits work. Smaller objects near bigger objects are pulled in by gravity. Some will crash right into the bigger object, and some will be going too fast and fly on by. But if they are going the right speed, they will be pulled into an elliptical path around the object. But that pull is counteracted by the centrifugal force outward caused by the revolutions around the object. And because there is virtually no friction in space, objects can remain in orbit indefinitely. A very easy way to observe orbits, other than our own moon, is to look at the moons of Jupiter through a telescope. I've done this many times, and it's a very amazing sight. If you don't have a telescope, find someone who does. There are astronomy clubs all over the world that will gladly let you have a look. The 4 biggest moons of Jupiter orbit the planet in a short amount of time, and you can actually see their movements within a single night. Their movements are exactly predicted by the force of gravity, the same force that keeps our moon in orbit around the Earth. You really cannot honestly say gravity has never been proven. This sight alone proves it, and you can see it for yourself. When I started this series, I really didn't think I would have to explain that gravity exists and how we know it exists. It is something we all experience constantly, and we can easily test it ourselves. Unless you are completely delusional, you accept that things are pulled down. So your only problem, really, is the direction of the pull. On a giant sphere with trillions of tons of mass, the direction of pull is toward the center of mass of the sphere. You take it for granted that things are always pulled down, but down is relative. Everywhere on Earth, down is toward the center. And no, gravity is not just density and buoyancy. Density and buoyancy are factors in how gravity works, but alone, they don't explain the consistent direction of the force. It's gravity that causes the force to have a specific direction, down toward the center of the Earth. Since we are talking about gravity, I want to address another issue that keeps coming up. Flat earthers keep asking how gravity can hold everything to the Earth, including the oceans, if it is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. Well, there is a huge misconception here. Yes, it is true that the surface of the Earth does move at about 1,000 miles per hour at the equator, but that is irrelevant and misleading. The Earth only spins once per day. That is very slow. When you say 1,000 miles per hour, you make it seem like the Earth spins very fast, like a top. And some flat earthers use words like rapidly, fast, and whizzing around when describing the spin. It doesn't whiz around. It barely moves. The speed of the stars moving overhead each night is the speed of the rotation, and you won't notice them move without watching for a long time. The Earth spins once per day. That is twice as slow as the hour hand on your watch. It's only 15 degrees per hour. The only reason it is 1,000 miles per hour at the surface is because the Earth is so big. And a slow spin doesn't generate a lot of centrifugal force. Think of it this way. Hold a ball on a string and spin around fast. The ball is pulled outward by centrifugal force. Now, spin so slowly that it takes a full day to make one rotation. The ball will hang right down. Because the spin is so slow, there is almost no centrifugal force. That is the same for the Earth. The centrifugal force is so weak, it is only about 0.3% as strong as the pull of gravity. That is why we don't feel it, and why nothing, including the oceans, gets flung off into space. We can actually measure the tiny effect of centrifugal force, because objects weigh slightly less at the equator than they do at the poles. Every time you hear someone imply the Earth spins really fast at 1,000 miles per hour, think once per day. If I can get you to understand this simple concept, you will start to see why it's perfectly reasonable that we live on a spinning ball. All your objections are based on misconceptions, misunderstandings of physics, geometry, and scale, and flat-out denial of easily observable facts. Once again, I have shown you observations we can all make that show us the Earth must be a sphere. There is no other reasonable way to explain these facts. The flat Earth model cannot explain why we all see the same face of the moon and also the same phase of the moon from every spot on Earth on the same day. And it cannot explain why we have lunar eclipses that show us the Earth's round shadow in precisely the predicted size, position, and time. Flat Earthers struggle to explain these things with outlandish, implausible, and unsupported claims. Some of these would require inventing whole new laws of physics to explain them. But there is no need for that, because the heliocentric globe model explains all of it, with easily observed and tested physical forces. Thanks for watching.
That was a video I found called Voice of Reason. It's quite a polite video actually, because I found a lot of ones that were calling people that believe flat earth flat tards and stuff like that, so that was a really nice clean video. So I'm just going to conclude that this is my moon observations, and I can predict the rest. I don't have to go out every night to see the rest of the phases of the moon. I know it now. You can go to timeanddate.com, see everything. You can spend 100 years trying to match it up and it'd be correct on a sphere. Simple as that, guys. It's just a shame that there's too many people that want the flat earth to be true. And enough of the attacks. You've got certain people attacking me because I'm presenting observable evidence. Well, what I'd like to see, guys, is the people who are doing all the attacking to present their evidence that contradicts my evidence. Then we can have a proper discussion. But if all you can do is sit on Hangouts, giving the ad hominems, showing horizons that Rob Skiba made, not your own observations. And I'm doing observations about the moon right now. A lot of people are talking about Rahu, the black sun, and all this rubbish. Well, show me your own observable evidence. Selenium sun. Well, show me your own observable evidence. I'm not saying it's not true, because it's a rare phenomenon, but I'd be surprised. It's so rare that I'd be surprised if anyone on flat Earth has got their own observed selenium moon, because it's rare. Lunar eclipses aren't rare. I've filmed one. I've got a video on my channel. I've watched one with my own eyes. So until people can present evidence that contradicts my moon observations that's fit on a sphere, these are just ad hominem attacks. Going out on a pond and filming a pond to contradict my observations is strawman. Go out and film the moon and tell me where this black sun's coming from, or show me evidence that contradicts my evidence. Don't go out and film a pond and say that's evidence to contradict what I'm seeing with the moon. It's ridiculous. It's straw man. And it's strange. Strange times right now. I feel weird. A lot of people I respected and I thought were looking for truth weren't looking for truth. They were just looking for a place to belong. As soon as the top brass reach out, they're there. And I watch chat all the time. I watch the chat in these hangouts. It's the same people. It's the same people. Anyway, guys, I hope you have had a good weekend. Just looking at the moon, to me, shows enough evidence that we live on a spherical Earth. I'll look at other things as well. I'll look at other things, but it's pretty conclusive to me now. It's not total proof. I never said it was total proof, guys. I want you people to go out and do these things yourself. Don't rely on Globebusters or Nathan, or everybody should go out and do these things themselves and look at timeanddate.com or look at a flat earth model and try and match what they're seeing to any flat earth model and find themselves that nothing matches anything to do with flat earth. Then you can take your evidence to a globe, see if it matches that, and you find it starts ticking all the boxes. It's just one of these things, guys. So I want to thank Marvin Sands for his footage, MrB for his footage. They're both from Australia, so those southern hemisphere pictures were important, and film footage as well, and time lapse. Amazing stuff. I want to thank Justin, Jean as well, although Jean wasn't too happy I used the footage, but I want to thank them anyway. And who else was it? Justin, Jean. Was there someone else? Everyone else that was chipping in and supporting me as well. Even GLB behind the scenes was appreciating what I was doing. GLB never said anything against me. So respect to GLB. And I'll catch you all later, guys. I didn't know what's coming next, because that's the moon stuff over. I tried to watch a wee bit of Beyond the Curve last night. Half an hour ago. I got to the chemtrail part and I was like, oh, here we go again. And like I said, guys, this chemtrail is going to be a new strawman push. I've been through all the chemtrail stuff. I've been through it all. I was doing the observations in 2008, right up to 13 or 14 with the chemtrail stuff. And it's a massive psyop. Massive. Like I said, look out for these keywords in the chemtrail movement and in the flat earth. Morgellons, webs, chem webs they called them. Chembos, not rainbows, chembos. What else? Barium, strontium, and all these radioactive heavy metals that would kill the smallest creatures outside first before it got to you. And outside's thriving. We get trails every day in the sky, and my environment's thriving. It's taken over. It's taken over the concrete. The trees are bursting through the concrete here. But you'll hear a lot of scare tactics from this chem stuff. You'll be walking around with a gas mask outside. Because that's where I liked the flat earth. It was harmless. Because if you believed in... Well, I thought it was harmless, but it's harmful because these people don't only believe in flat earth. They start bringing other things that are harmful to your health, like drinking bleach and all this crap for alternative medicines. So it can be dangerous, but the chemtrail one was psychologically dangerous because gullible people, hypochondriacs and gullible people, those were the biggest victims because they'd start showing symptoms. A chem flu or chem's sickness and all this stuff, and they started showing symptoms because they were so convinced it was like a placebo effect. They were calling Morgellons the first psychological disease that you could get through your computer because people were reading so much disinfo, they were actually convinced of themselves that they were getting ill when they seen a trail. And it was dangerous. It could turn you into a hermit. So you're going to see a big push for chemtrails, and it's just to get everyone worried, scared. And when you're feeling like that, it's hard to process information properly when you're scared and worried and anxious all the time, thinking they're spraying you. But The reason why we get so much trails in the northern hemisphere, that's because that's where all the moisture is. You hardly see them below the equator, trails, because there's no moisture in the air. So what they're not spraying South Africa, and that's another thing I seen. People were sending. I had a group on Facebook about chemtrails and geoengineering, and people are sending me pictures of trails in London over Buckingham Palace. I seen trails over the Scottish governments. I seen trails everywhere over the White House. So do you think they're spraying the presidents and the Queen and all that as well? But what was their answer? There's a pill. Oh, they've got a special pill they take that makes them immune for all the chemtrail chemicals. And it just, like I said, guys, it goes round in circles. It goes round in circles. That's what chemtrails would have to do if the sun went round in circles above our head. They'd have to spray curved trails. Stupid stuff, man. But there will be a big push with this chemtrails, and those are the key words: Morgellons, chemwebs, blood cells. You start hearing about nanotechnology and things like that. Just straight, it gets really deep. Then they start coming out with the new age stuff in chemtrails, because they start introducing these things called chembusters, which are the Argon pyramids. Where have we seen the Argon pyramids before, guys? In flat Earth, Argon, and they think they can cloud bust. Then they bring up Kate Bush's cloud busting videos and stuff like that, and it's a massive psyop on its own, the chemtrail stuff. So if anybody wants to know about the chemtrail, I might even do a hangout just dedicated to the chemtrails. I know the trails create clouds. I've got videos of that happening, but they're not killing people. They're not. If anything, they're blocking some sunlight. But there's so much sunlight hits our. Again, Scotland's always, before planes were invented, Scotland's always been dull. Always had rain. Anyway, guys, I hope you have a great weekend. Thanks for following me on this moon observations. My next hangout will probably be more of a chatty one rather than presenting evidence, because people don't like to see too much evidence. It breaks their heart. Anyway, guys, take care, and I will see you all later.